Do you ever feel like your goals are just too big, your dreams are too lofty, and the path to success is just way too long? Well, today I'm gonna share with you a lesson that I learned from an old tree that can help put things into perspective and hopefully encourage you in your own journey. Now, this is a Chinese elm bonsai that was first potted more than 30 years ago. That's right, 30 years. I mean, imagine the kind of shape it would be in if it had just been left to grow naturally. Well, here it is. And there are two important aspects about its appearance that I want to highlight for you today. The first thing that I notice is how gnarled and twisted all the branches are. And secondly, look at how thick the trunk is. Now, before we go any further, I need you to do a quick exercise. Take a second and try to guess how old this tree actually is. Go ahead, take a second. All right, done. Well, I am guessing most of you are going to say something along the lines of maybe 60 or 70 years old. After all, the branches are pretty twisted, right? The older the tree, the more time it has to grow and develop those twists and turns. Right now, when you compare that to the thickness of the trunk, it doesn't seem to match up. I mean, if it's been growing for 70 years, why isn't it much thicker? In fact, many of you might even think that this tree isn't even 70 years old. Maybe it's only 40 or 50 years. But the truth is, this tree is actually 200 years old. That's right, 200 years. And so now you have to ask yourself, how could this tree be 200 years old, but still have these thin, skinny branches? I mean, it seems to defy logic, doesn't it? Well, the reason this tree looks the way it does is because it has been deliberately shaped and pruned into this style over its lifetime. Each one of these twisted branches has been carefully coaxed into place and maintained over the years. Now, admittedly, some of these smaller branches may have grown like this naturally, but they were never pruned off or allowed to become unruly. Now, if this tree had been left alone in its natural environment, it would have looked completely different. It probably would have grown tall and wide, reaching up toward the sunlight and spreading its limbs out like most elm trees do. But instead, this tree has been trained to grow low and wide, with many of its branches growing across the ground. Now, if you ask me whether I thought this was a good thing or a bad thing, I'd say it really depends on your point of view. I mean, I can see both sides of the argument. On the one hand, it's almost impossible to imagine how beautiful this tree will look another 30 years from now. I mean, just think about how far this tree has come already. And if another 30 years of dedicated care results in something like this, well, I'd say that's definitely something to look forward to. On the other hand, though, you have to wonder what the tree itself must think about all this. I mean, if you were a tree and you had spent 200 years growing a certain way only to have someone come along and start pruning off all your branches, well, you might not exactly be thrilled about it, right? In fact, you might even think that you're being punished or tortured. So really, it comes down to your point of view. See, the way this tree is being pruned is called a technique called cascade training. And the goal of cascade training is to train the branches of a tree to grow downward, cascading over one another and eventually reaching the ground. Now, the technique works by simply pruning off any branches that grow upward. And after a while, the tree responds by growing more branches that stay low and angled downward. Over time, this creates a beautiful cascading effect. But why would anyone want to put a tree through this type of pruning? Well, the answer is simple. It's because the end result is worth it. When done correctly, cascading can make a tree look absolutely stunning. Just look at this Japanese maple, or how about this Chinese elm? There's just something so elegant and refined about a tree that has been trained to grow in this style. It's no wonder that bonsai artists spend so much time and effort perfecting it. Now, I don't know about you, but the more I thought about this tree, the more I realized that there was a valuable lesson in there somewhere. I mean, think about it. This tree has been pruned for over 3 decades, and yet it hasn't reached its final form yet. You know, the funny thing is, when most people think of bonsai, they think of the end product, the finished piece. They rarely ever think about the process or the journey that it took to get there. But this tree is a perfect example of how the journey is just as important as the destination. When I first started bonsai, I had the same mentality. I saw bonsai and I thought, that's what I want. I didn't care about how long it would take or what kind of work was involved. I just wanted to get there as quickly as possible. But over time, I've come to appreciate the process a little bit more. I've realized that it's not just about the end product. It's about the journey, the small steps that you take every day that eventually add up to something great. You see, bonsai is a lot like life. We set out with a goal in mind, a certain shape or style that we want to achieve. But along the way, we have to be willing to make small adjustments, to prune away the parts of our lives that aren't working and to focus on the things that really matter. Sometimes that means making sacrifices. Sometimes it means saying no to the things we want to do so that we can focus on the things we need to do. But in the end, it's all worth it when we look back and see how far we've come. I mean, think about all the things that this bonsai has gone through over the past 30 years. It's been pruned, shaped, and trained into a style that its natural instincts would never allow it to grow. It's been repotted countless times, its roots trimmed, and its soil replaced. It's been exposed to the elements, the sun, the rain, the wind, and the snow. Through all of this, it has remained strong and resilient. And in the end, it has produced something that is truly beautiful. So next time you're feeling impatient, remember the bonsai tree. Remember that it's the journey that matters, not just the destination. Remember that it's the small steps that you take every day that eventually add up to something great. Don't be afraid to make sacrifices. Don't be afraid to say no to the things you want to do so that you can focus on the things you need to do. And above all, remember to enjoy the process. Remember that it's not just about the end product, it's about the journey too. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know. Also, I would love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this topic? Do you think this tree is beautiful or do you think it's sad? Do you think it's cruel to train a tree in this way? Let me know in the comments below. Finally, before you go, I just want to say thank you again for watching and I hope you come back soon.